Hi, everybody. Hey, girlfriend. How is everybody doing? I'm so excited to be here with you all, girlfriends. Listen, get your girlfriends, tag them now, share this to all of your girlfriends and all of your social media places. We are live and we're doing this podcast with a wonderful girlfriend of mine, which I'll introduce a little bit later on. But I'm so glad you're here. This Hey Girlfriend podcast is a subsidiary, if you want to call it that, of my husband and I's Trade Secrets podcast, which is everything marriage and everything relationship geared that way towards marriage and relationships. And we talk to some phenomenal guests, right, all the time. But I really wanted to segue a little bit to wives, to women, and just have us have our little women time, our little chat time, our little girlfriend time, as if you were with me right here in my, well, this is my office, but right here in my living room, chatting it up about all of the things that women chat about when our husbands are not around. Although my husband is the person behind the scenes right now, but pretend he's not here. You can't see him. So just pretend he's not here. So that's what I wanted to do with this podcast, because so many times, right, us as women, us as wives, us as girlfriends, we don't build each other up enough. We don't support each other enough. There's too much competition and there's too much of I want to get to wherever I'm getting to. and regardless of whatever anybody else is doing, as long as I get there. No, I don't feel like that is how it's supposed to be. I feel like we as girlfriends should support each other. I think we should lift each other up. There's too much of negativity going around, right? And so that was my intent on doing this Hey Girlfriend podcast. I just wanted us to come together and feel supported and feel like we're in this marriage thing together and talk about all the things. Today we're going to be talking about women's health, but we have some other phenomenal guests. I have some other phenomenal guests coming on in future episodes where we're going to talk about, the wife situation. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about our children. We're going to talk about our mental health. All of that is so super important to me, and it should be to all of us. So that's why I wanted to do this. So that's my whole thing with Hey Girlfriend. Listen, if you're not following us on our YouTube channel, I suggest that you do that because I don't want you to miss anything. I don't want you to miss any of our Trade Secrets podcasts, and I don't want you to miss any of my Hey Girlfriend podcasts, okay? So follow us on YouTube. The channel is, let me see if I get this right because I always mess it up, youtube.com/Denali LLC. Follow us, make sure you subscribe, click the little bell so that you get notifications when we're going live, whether it be me and my husband or whether it be my Hey Girlfriend podcast. I really, really want you to subscribe to that, okay? So make sure you do that. And I wish that I was wearing it today, but it didn't get here on time. But we have some great t-shirts. Eek! I have some Hey Girlfriend t-shirts, and I really want you to pick these up. Not because I want you to support me. Yes, that's great, and I want you to support me, but really I want us all to be wearing these Hey Girlfriend t-shirts because it's a sign to me of solidarity. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of sisterhood. It's a sign of support, and I want us all to be wearing them and to be supporting our sisters and be in this together. Super important to me that we, just start to build each other up more, support each other more, share with each other more. That is the whole premise behind my Hey Girlfriend t-shirt line. And if you can see, there are two different kinds that you can purchase. There's one that we're calling the Universal Sister. If you see her, it's the one on the top. She's cute. She's just got her little arms out and she's cute and everything. But down below, we also have the ethnic sister. You see, she got a little bit more curves to her. She's got the little afro. So I wanted to make sure that all of my girlfriends were represented. Okay, so pick up your t-shirts. They come in different colors, and again, like I said, the two different kinds, the universal or the ethnic sister, whichever one you prefer. But I want us to get in this together and support each other. And when you see your girlfriend wearing it, be like, hey girlfriend, and you know what that's all about, right? We're supporting each other. We're in this sisterhood together. We're not trying to cancel each other out. We're not trying to compete with each other. We're here to support, okay? I want you to go there and get that. You can get that at pressandsew.com/Denali. That's where you can get all of our merch from. But my Hey Girlfriend t-shirt is on there as well, okay? pressandsew.com/Denali. You'll find a lot of phenomenal stuff out there. Okay. Eek. Let's get going with the show. Today's show, we are talking about women's health, and I'm so excited for the beautiful guest that I have that's coming on. She is my girlfriend. Her name is Erna Josiah-Davis. She's a medical professional. She is a nurse practitioner, and she also is the owner and creator of Health to Life Coaching. She has wonderful stuff on her site. I need you to go follow her. Health to Life Coaching is her handle on Instagram. And she's just a wealth of healthy information, okay? And I'll have her talk a little bit more about, she has a survey and she has a lot of wonderful stuff going on. I'll have her talk about that stuff when we bring her in. So let's go ahead and bring her in now. There she
Hi.
is. Hey.
I
I'm
popped in and I was like, oh, there I am. Hi,
s-
Denise. How are
Hi,
you? How
Erna.
are you?
Thank you so much for joining me
You are
today.
so welcome. I am buzzing. I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing. I'm
Me
so
too.
excited.
I'm so excited too. So we got on a live a couple days ago, me and
We
Erna,
did. It was fun. It
over
was
on
fun.
Instagram. We had a lot of fun. And, we were just talking about women's health and spirituality and all of the things, right? And so
Yes, we
there
were.
there were not a lot of people on there. So for the people that are over here
Hmm.
that missed it, I just wanted to highlight a few things that we talked about. And one of the things
Yeah.
that we talked about
Hmm.
was women's health, and what we felt was the thing that women tend to neglect the most when it comes to women's health. And I said that I think that it was rest. But what did you say? You said that, and then you said some other stuff as well.
I totally agreed with the rest part. And I think
Yeah.
I mentioned nutrition and
Mhm.
you mentioned rest, I mentioned nutrition. And I
Yeah.
think what that all circles around is that we tend to neglect ourselves.
Yes.
Period. We put ourselves last,
We do.
and we think we want to be servants. We want to serve. We want to be the giving, wonderful human beings that we think we should be. But that
Mhm.
usually translates into putting ourselves last.
Yeah.
There's that scripture that says the first will be last and the last will be first.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that comes, Jesus was talking to his disciples, correct me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong.
Mhm.
And certainly that kind of servitude,
Yeah.
that attitude of servitude is very important. It's one of the most important commandments.
Yeah.
But that being said, how can we continue to do that, to be consistently doing that if we neglect
Yeah,
ourselves?
right. I think we have to find that fine balance, wouldn't you say? Because again, servitude is not, it's not that it's wrong, right? It's
No,
just that
absolutely not.
we have to include ourselves in, serve ourselves, if you want to put it that way. And yeah, a lot of the times we put ourselves at the bottom of the list, and then there's just not so much left for us to give to ourselves.
Right. So how I tend to, and I've been guilty of this myself for most of my life.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
How I tend to kind of reframe or refocus myself
Hmm.
is I go back to so Jesus was talking to the Pharisees who asked him, what are the greatest of the commandments, right?
Yeah.
Whatever their motive or intentions were, they
Hmm.
wanted him to answer that very important question. And I
Hmm.
think it is super important for us to ask it. And he answers it quite clearly.
Yeah.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart and
Yeah.
love your neighbor as yourself. So, what
Hmm.
comes first? Even before we love our neighbor, we need to love our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
And what comes with that? And I think if we peel that back,
Mm.
there are many layers to that. And if
Hmm.
we peel back the layers of how do we love God, how do we focus on that relationship with Him,
Yeah.
I think the rest will fall into place, including
Yeah.
loving others and loving ourselves as well.
Yeah. I love that. Very, very good. I love that a lot. We also talked about what would be the first step. We were talking about getting healthy and getting,
Mm,
getting back on track, or starting the health journey, if you will, starting to, be more aware of the things that we're putting in our body, be more aware of, exercising more and all those types of things. And we were talking, I asked you what would be the first step that someone would do to get to that point. Because I think that
yeah.
a lot of times we have these big, grandiose, ideas, or these
Yeah,
things that we want to aspire to get healthy. And I think
absolutely.
that we just take on too much too soon. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's another trap. I think it's another slippery slope that we
Hmm.
can fall into. So I'm very big in keeping it super simple. You hear
Hmm.
that phrase all the time, and I think it's super important where we do that. We do
Hmm.
that in all parts of our life, not just our health. So
Hmm.
if we keep it super simple and really focus on what needs to be dealt with now, for me, it might be water. See, I have my
Mm-hmm.
water pitcher right here.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it might be water. For me, it might be alone time. For me,
Yeah.
it might be sleep. For
Mm-hmm.
you, it might be I need to get some more movement, more consistent movement into my day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day, or pick it up how many times a week I need to do it more. So everyone, it might be different on where you start. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if we focus on three or four things and try to ask ourselves, where am I most deficient? And what small thing can I do right now,
Yeah.
today, and maybe for
Yeah.
the rest of this week?
Yeah.
Just that one thing. If we focus on keeping it that simple, I
Mm-hmm.
believe if we focus on some of the things you already talked about, our nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
our sleep, our
Mm-hmm.
time alone, preferably with our Heavenly Father,
Yeah.
that has to be one of those things. It
Mm-hmm.
absolutely must be. If we
Mm-hmm.
focus on those three things and just pick one thing out
Yeah.
of the area that we feel is the
The
most
most
deficient,
deficient. Yeah.
start there. And
Mm-hmm.
really, you can write these down. One of the things I did just this morning, and I do this periodically, I don't do it like regularly or very often, but I do it periodically. I brain dump.
Mm-hmm.
So I will put on a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
I write down categories of my life. Maybe some of it is nutrition. Maybe some of it's finances. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
some of it is my business or my
Mm-hmm.
job or my career or my relationships or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then just start scribbling whatever comes to
Comes to
you
mind.
and
Yeah.
just write it down. It'll be a lot of things. And brain dumping can seem as if, oh my goodness, now that I have all this stuff on the paper,
Mm-hmm.
what am I going to do with all this stuff? This is a lot.
Yeah.
But then is where you really focus down and circle one or two things under each section. That is it. The
Ooh,
most
that's so good.
important things I think you need to deal with right now. So that's an exercise that you can do. It's very, very simple.
That is
It's
excellent.
actually it's actually made to kind of decrease the overwhelm, get it off of your
Mm-hmm.
mind. Sometimes, especially as women, we like things just spinning. They're just constantly spinning in our minds.
Yes.
So if we get it all down on paper, we sort of that's why it's called a brain dump. We sort of
Mm-hmm.
release it, get it
Yeah.
on paper, get it in front of you.
It's like purging your brain.
It's seriously purging your brain.
Wow.
Sometimes it takes more than one session to do it because we have a lot going on up there.
Yep.
Get it down on paper in front of you.
Yeah.
And then I think very, very strategically and prayerfully focus on one or two things
Mm-hmm.
under each section, however you've decided to organize that brain dump. And then focus on one of those things a little bit at a time. Choose one SMART goal. And I don't know if you've ever
Mm-hmm.
talked about SMART goals on this podcast, but I think they're super powerful. So
Mm-hmm.
focus on simple SMART goals for each of those sections that you can implement maybe 1 week at a time, and
Mm-hmm.
talk about it with the people that you are closest to. Accountability is a huge, huge thing. And I think
Yeah.
Hey Girlfriend is a huge part of that as well.
Yeah.
Accountability, that's what I think is what this is about. This
Yeah.
conversation that we're having right now should emphasize is emphasizing how accountable can and should we be to and for each other.
Yeah. Ooh, that is so good. I would have never related brain dumping to women's health.
Mm,
But it's
yeah.
so good.
Hmm.
Listen to all of the things that we're gathering in, because we're nurturers by nature. So we're thinking
Sure.
of all of the people that we have to take care of, and then,
All
like
the
you said, our
things.
career, and then just everything, all of the
Hmm.
things, and there's so much going
It's a
on.
lot. It's a
It is a
lot.
lot. And if you think
Hmm.
about it, a lot of times all of the stuff that we're thinking about, it can be emotionally or mentally overwhelming, and then that
Yeah.
affects our physical health. So
Every time.
brain dumping, that is phenomenal. That is a wonderful
I just
principle.
recently started doing it, and it's been really, really helpful for me
Yeah.
because I have a little bit of, I don't know, call it ADD, call it
Mm-hmm.
whatever you like, but my brain is constantly moving.
Yep.
Focusing on one thing at a time is for until it's complete. That's like one of
Yeah.
my goals. So
Mm-hmm.
that really helps me. And
Oh,
whether
that's great.
it's I need to drink more water, that was a huge thing for me. I need to sleep better. That's
Mm-hmm.
literally what I have to do to make those things happen.
That is so great. And I think along with brain dumping too, it may be a given to some people, maybe not, but I
Hmm.
think once we've brain dumped, then we can just talk to God about it and say, God, this is all of the stuff, all of the things.
Absolutely.
Direct me to what you want me to
I
focus on for this week or for today or whatever. But this is all the stuff that's going on in my mind, God. I need you to take control of it all. So, yeah. Oh,
I
that is so
agree.
good.
I
Yeah.
usually brain dump and pray at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's literally because I need him, because I'm asking him, Lord, what am I supposed to do with this and this and this
Yep.
and this and
Yep.
this?
Yep.
And after I started doing that exercise,
Mm-hmm.
I started finding a very specific way God answers my prayer, and it's different for everybody. And I don't know if people have really thought about this, how God specifically speaks to me might be very different from how you hear his voice. And
Yes.
that's actually, that exercise actually helped me listen
Mm.
more to him. We're used to praying to God,
Yes.
and obviously communication is a two-way street, and
Street.
that
Yep.
really helped me listen to God. So since that time, I noticed that God answers a specific question I give to him as part of this exercise that I do in a
Mm-hmm.
very specific way, and he does
Mm-hmm.
it as I'm waking up in the morning. I have no idea
Mm.
why he chose that for me,
Yeah.
but he answers specific questions, requests, troublesome things that I have on my mind that I've brain dumped on paper as I'm talking to him. What's going on? Why is
Mm-hmm.
this happening?
Yeah.
What do I do with this? He will answer me in that specific way. I don't know why. That's just how he speaks
That's
to
how
me.
he speaks to you. That is
Yeah,
beautiful. I love that. I see some comments over here. I see that
I saw some too.
Pamela Pinder said, sometimes you just don't know how to love you. Where did it go? You just don't know how to love yourself. You've given so much of you
Mm,
until there's very little love or time
mm,
to do
mm.
so. Mm. I get what you're saying, and I kind of can relate to that, but I think it's
Yeah,
super important for us to go back to the word. Go back to
oh,
what, who does God say we are? Love that person, find out who he says we are. And it says to love others as we love
love
ourselves,
ourselves.
right?
Hmm.
And so I think it's super important for us to start there. Find out who God says, who does God say I am?
Mm-hmm.
And then start living that. And I think once we start to live who God says we are, we'll love who we are. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
How
so
can we not? I think if we find our value, and if we find our
that's it.
value in the right place, as
Yep.
in we must find our value in our creator.
Mm, that's
And
it.
if just like you said, if we don't, if we tend to find our value in the external things of this world,
Mm-hmm.
even even in our family who we love dearly and
Yeah.
completely,
Yeah.
we will sometimes have that feeling. And to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that may bring on feelings that are very negative,
Mm-hmm.
not just not leave room enough for us to love ourselves, but sometimes we start resenting what we have put our value in.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
So finding our value in
Yeah.
our creator and the reasons for why we're here. I read this morning. This is part of what I do for my health. I
Mm-hmm.
really focus on connection with my heavenly Father,
Mm-hmm.
listening, speaking and listening to, and I also do a little, we call it personal development or whatever we want to do. And I read this. It was a book by John Maxwell, and
Mm-hmm.
it says the two most important days of everyone's life is the day they're born and the
And the
day
day.
they figure out why. I
Okay.
was like,
Wow.
wow. Now
Mm.
in that, what I got out of it the most, and that's what I did, I stopped and said, wow,
Mm-hmm.
what and where is my value?
Yes.
Once I figure that out, um, God's love has to come out through me, and it has to be inside of me. I must.
Yeah. Ooh. That is good. What and where is my value? And we're talking about God and we're talking about the spiritual connection and all of that. And you may not think that it relates to women's health, but it really, really does.
It
I
has to.
think that it has to. And I think that that's where we have to start. Once we get that right in our minds, our whole connection with God, the way He loves us, the way He wants us to love, I think that everything else will be a domino effect
It
because
does. It has
we'll
to.
want to, eat better. We'll want to have our temples be as healthy as it can be. We'll want to do all of these things. And with God's strength, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It will
Whoo,
work.
yes.
Yeah. Because it's not going to be in our strength. Just
No,
put that out there right now.
no, no. I'm afraid not. This is a prayerful process. It really
Hmm.
is. Life and health is a prayerful process.
It
I
is.
call it faith in action,
Yeah.
and it comes motivation. And I think we talked a little bit about this. And I think after we had our live, I think I was on Instagram stories because someone had asked a question in our IG live about
Hmm.
how does one stay motivated to do
Motivated.
all those things, to
Talk
stay
about it.
healthy. Oh my goodness. This is what I have discovered. This is what God has taught me. You see, I can't, and that's what that verse is. I can't do it in my strength because the motivation comes and goes.
Yep.
The ability comes and goes. Sometimes we just don't even know what to do. So where
Yep.
do we get that? We have to find the plan. We have to figure out, again, we have to do that exercise, figure out what is the most important part of my health, my
Yes.
body. If we need to go get our annual checkups, we absolutely need to do that.
Yeah.
If we need to sit down and figure out, what are the most important parts of my health that will increase my longevity, that will decrease my risk for so many lifestyle related illnesses
Yep.
and conditions. What are those things for me and my family? And how can I tweak it just a little bit? Make that decision. Do some
Mm.
intentional work.
Right.
We tend to not be intentional about our health. We let it just happen to us.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Genetics just happens to us, and yes, it does. This is just how we eat. This is just what we do.
Yeah.
My so and so have always done
It's
it, so that's
always been
how
this way.
it's
Yeah.
always been this way. So
Yeah.
that's what I have to do, and
Yeah.
that's really a cop out, isn't it?
It is. And you know what's crazy is I think that we're both Caribbean. Well, my parents are. I
Mm-hmm.
know you're Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And I know
Oh
that
yeah,
Caribbeans tend to say that all the time.
sure.
This is the food I grew up on.
It
This is just how we
is.
eat. We're
Yes.
Caribbean. This is just what we
And it's
do.
good, and it tastes
And it's good.
amazing. It does. It does. I'm not. It
Yeah.
does.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's so many things we can do to help ourselves and our families,
Yep.
and still enjoy that tradition and that culture and
Yep.
the flavors. I mean, which are, I
Yes.
mean, there's a wonderful things, but at what cost? If the cost is worth it to you, then I have nothing to stand on. But if it's something you want to change, if there's some part of your health and it's affecting your health,
Hmm.
then you have to do something different if you want a different outcome.
If you
You
want a
you just
different
have to.
outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, Laura. Do some intentional work. Yep. That's what it all boils down to.
Mhm.
One of the
Mhm.
Facebook users, I'm sorry, your name is not listed, so I don't know um, your name, but he or she said, focus on making a 1% improvement in
And
any activity
oh,
and watch the compounding effect over 365 days. Mind blowing results. 1%.
oh, amen to that.
Just
She
listen,
must have
start where you
she
are.
must she must have you read The Compound Effect? I think that book is
No.
mind blowing. I don't know if that's where
Wow.
she got that from, but it sounds like it.
Awesome.
It's really really true.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some really fantastic ways that you can think about how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
There are many different ways to do that, but what she, I think, was inferring, what she or he was inferring, was that you're either getting better or you're getting worse. We always
Ooh.
think
Ooh.
being in our comfort zone, we're
Mm.
actually staying the same. And there are a lot of people who think and have a lot of evidence to say that's actually not true. You're
Wow.
always changing. It's the
Changing.
human. The only thing that stays the same is God. He never changes
Mm.
because he's God.
Mm-hmm.
We, on the other hand, change constantly,
Constantly.
whether we think we are or not, whether we're being intentional about it or not.
We
We are
are.
either getting better or we're getting worse.
Oof.
We are never staying the same. So that when I thought about that and read that, it struck me so heavily because
It's a
that's the
sobering
kind of
thought.
it's a very sobering thought. Very sobering. So every little decision, and all of us, we make thousands of decisions every day,
Yeah.
thousands of decisions, and hundreds, if not thousands of decisions
Mm-hmm.
every single day. And every single one of them either makes us better or makes us
Or
worse.
worse. My goodness.
Whew.
Whew.
So if you
Yeah.
start thinking about that's what it is, 1%, 0.1% in the right
Mhm.
direction over
Over
time
time. Yes.
makes a huge difference. And if we start thinking that way, even about our health, about what we eat. So I am really big into nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd be happy to tell you why.
Please. Please, please, please.
so so nutrition, food, is always with us. Food is a part of everyday life because we have to eat to live.
Yeah.
So something that is that ubiquitous tends to become a large part of us
Mm-hmm.
naturally, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it should, because it's with us every single day, no
Mm-hmm.
matter where we are, no matter what under circumstances, under what conditions we are living, where we are, we have to eat.
Right.
So as opposed to so many other things, we also have to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a nurse practitioner, and I've had some weird shifts in my work life,
Yeah.
and I've worked some really strange shifts, and many of people can relate that are listening to this. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I go very long periods without sleep, and I can go long periods without eating. They're both really, really difficult.
Mm.
But after a certain amount of time, we have to stop and get those things. We have to stop and put them into our body.
Yeah.
Otherwise, our body starts to deteriorate. Our mind starts to deteriorate. Physically, we start
Yes.
to deteriorate. Emotionally, mentally, all the things
Yeah.
start to break down if we don't give it what it needs. So,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition is a tricky one because it's always around us, and it's always connected to, it's usually connected to emotion. And
Mm-hmm.
we are very, very attached to our emotions. Our emotions just always there, coming up to the surface.
Yeah.
So if food is related to our celebrations, to our mood, to where we're going, to all kinds of things, then it's really hard to make some intentional decisions about our food.
Yeah.
And I found that, or at least that's what I find with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I had to become very, very intentional, very, very clear on what I needed to do with my nutrition to
Yeah.
affect my health.
Mm.
And once I figured out what that was and then committed to it, because it was super hard, and then I needed to find a plan that I
Yeah.
could follow.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to find a plan, commit to a plan, and follow a plan. And once I do all those things, parts of it will become easier and easier and easier and easier over time, and then they become a habit.
Yeah. Very,
Once it
very
becomes a
good.
habit, that's when it becomes natural, and you don't even have to think about it
Think
anymore.
about it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. That is good. I love that. I have a note here. I read something. The World Health Organization wrote this article
Hmm.
back in 2015, right? And it said that the most important issue in women's health is mental health.
Mm,
And it said that evidence suggests that women are more prone than men to experience anxiety, depression, and somatic complaints, the physical
hmm,
symptoms that cannot be
hmm,
explained medically. That's
hmm.
pretty wild to me.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And I think too that
And
that is because, again, going back to us putting ourselves last, because
yes,
we take on so much and we just feel so responsible for all of the things that I
yes.
think a lot of times it becomes overwhelming to the point where it does affect our mental health, and then it spills over and starts to affect our physical health. Don't
It
you
must.
agree?
It makes us
Yeah.
sick. It
It
really
makes
makes
us
us sick.
sick.
It absolutely makes us very ill.
Wow.
And that alone should be reason enough for us to say, put a full stop
Yes.
on everything and try to figure out what you can do to
Mm-hmm.
take care of all of that. And I
Yeah.
think, and we have to do this with the people that we love. We
Mm-hmm.
can't do it in isolation.
Yeah.
I've tried to do that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have tried to do that, and it doesn't work as well. But
Mm-hmm.
if we have a support system, a family around us, friends, whoever, that can support you as you try to heal the things that are making you sick.
Mm.
You have to. If you're sick, how can you then take care of other people? You
Exactly.
have to do that so that you can do all the things that you're called to do.
Yeah.
For no other reason is God wants you to prosper and be in health. And he wants you to
Yes.
do that so that you can be all that remember, once you discover why God has placed you on this earth,
Yeah.
you need to make yourself as healthy as possible so you can do those
Mm.
things. You can be
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
have to, and it's a body, mind, and spirit journey. It has to be.
And it is all of those three things. It can't just be the one thing.
Wholeness has to.
Wholeness, holistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it has to. So
Mm.
you have to laying all your burdens on him because he cares about you and about them
Yeah.
is a real thing. It's
Mm.
part of his treatment plan for all of these anxieties that we have. Is it easy? No.
No. Yeah.
It's seldom easy to do.
Yeah.
But he's the God of the universe.
Mm.
He's if he's your king, if he's your savior and redeemer and your friend,
Mm.
if you truly believe that, first you need to ask yourself if you
Do
believe
I
those
really
things.
believe it? Yeah.
Do you really believe it? And you have to be honest with yourself. You're the only one who can answer that question. God knows.
Yep.
God knows it better than you do.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But if you can truly face those things head on,
Mm-hmm.
and then really figure out, and sometimes that means you need to ask God, show me how I deal with these anxieties, these things that I take on to myself that are now making me mentally and
Mm.
physically and emotionally not well.
Yes.
Who do I talk to? What do I do? Where do I
Yeah.
go? We must ask him for those directions, and he will tell you. You just
He
have to be
will.
open. He will.
Yeah.
He will. He wants us desperately to come to him
To
with
him.
them and find that plan, and then be very intentional about it. Commit to it.
Yeah.
Write it down, tell it to someone who can help keep you accountable, who can help you find those answers. So
Mm-hmm.
there are so many things that we can do. There really are.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Listen, I want to turn the corner a little bit because you know my issue. You know what I'm going through these days.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. It's time. Let's talk about it.
She said it's time.
Mhm.
Listen, we are struggling. I'm not going to say we. I am going through it with this whole
Many of us.
perimenopause thing, right?
Hmm.
I'm 53. Stuff
Hmm.
started ramping up this year.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh my word. I honestly thought that something was wrong with me, like there was some kind of illness, because
Hmm.
I just started getting this, you start with the whole sweating and getting really hot for no reason out of nowhere. It's just like this sensation. It just kind of like
Hmm.
grows and builds in you. And I was like,
Hmm.
something is definitely wrong. What is going on? And so when
Ooh.
I went to my doctor for my checkup, she was like, you're good. You're fine. You're also
Nothing wrong with you.
53. Nothing wrong with you.
No.
She said, you're 53. That is what it
Yes.
is. So,
Yes.
listen, I just
Yeah.
wanted
Yeah.
to know. Um, I wrote down some questions. First of all,
Okay.
menopause and perimenopause.
Uh-huh.
I know the difference, but just in case for some people that don't know the difference between the two,
Sure.
give a quick explanation of that.
Okay, great. Quick disclaimer. I'm not a women's health nurse practitioner, but I have been struggling with the same thing. I'm 52,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been having some of the same symptoms. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always a good idea to talk to someone. Absolutely. I think what you did was one of the best things we can do. Go talk to someone, preferably a professional who understands what's
Yeah.
going on in the body at
Mm-hmm.
usually at our age.
Right.
So, first, menopause and perimenopause are words used to describe a time in a woman's life
Mm-hmm.
when the chemicals and hormones in her body are changing.
Yeah.
Their balance is changing for lots
Mm-hmm.
of reasons.
Yeah.
And some of those reasons have to do with just natural aging.
Yeah.
You're not 12 anymore, so your childbearing age. This is part of why. Before then, you're in childbearing age, and around
Mm-hmm.
after then, you're less so. It's just a
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
So menopause, the definition of menopause is something that was created just to give, medical professionals and us a clear idea of what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And so their definition of menopause is when you have no cycles
Mm-hmm.
for at least 12
12,
months.
12
Zero.
consecutive months.
12
Yeah.
consecutive months.
Yeah.
So before that happens, we can have symptoms that are showing us that the hormones and the levels are starting to change,
Yeah.
some much more dramatically than others. So we can
Mm-hmm.
have symptoms of that's why we call it perimenopause,
Very.
because when we haven't gone through that full year
Right.
of no cycles yet,
Yep.
but we're starting to feel those symptoms. And there are many symptoms.
So many.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's so many. Sometimes it's our sleep is affected. Of course, hot flashes is one of them, or what we call hot flashes is one of the more common symptoms, but there are actually many, many others.
Yeah.
Some people experience weight gain. Some people
Mm-hmm.
experience weight loss, or skin sometimes changes. I
Yes.
noticed actually dark under circles. My under eye
Yeah.
area was getting very thin and sort of gray.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things can be part of perimenopause that happens before you are actually technically in menopause.
Yeah.
So either way, it's just a way that we can describe some of the changes that are happening because
Yeah.
of the time in our life that we are. There's nothing wrong with us.
Right.
Some of the symptoms can be just much more annoying than others. And that's really it, very, very simply.
It is annoying and sometimes scary because some of the symptoms are even anxiety and
Producing. Yeah.
depression and mood swings and all
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
All of these are symptoms, and so
Yes.
sometimes that's scary. But on the other
Yes.
hand, when you think about what is naturally happening in your
Happening.
body, that's
Hmm.
pretty amazing that we're
It
created this
is.
way.
Yes,
You
it
know what I'm saying?
is.
It's
It
nothing that we
is.
had to do.
It
It's not
is.
a pill that we had to take to get this thing
No.
started. It
Mm-hmm.
just naturally
Happens. Yeah.
happens. That's how
Yeah.
he created us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that to me just is phenomenal. We literally
It
are
is.
fearfully and
Wonderfully
wonderfully
made.
made. And I just
He knew what he
love
was
that.
doing.
He
I
knew what he was
know.
doing.
I
Oh,
know. I
that's
know.
so
And
great.
it unfortunately does sometimes affect our mental health
It
as well. So
does.
some
It
of those
does.
symptoms for some
Yeah.
can be debilitating in many ways,
Yes.
physically and emotionally. So we just have
Yeah.
to be aware of it and
Mm-hmm.
take care of it. Again, we might need to reach out to someone.
Yep.
Ask our Heavenly Father, who do I reach out to?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might not be your best friend, sometimes it is, but just reaching out to someone and
Yes.
expressing those feelings, whether you think it's perimenopausal or not, I think just finding someone that you can reach out to
Yeah.
that you feel safe with, I think is a good thing to do.
That's fantastic. Have you found anything that helps alleviate or make your symptoms not debilitating, because they're not really debilitating, but
Yeah.
have you found
Yeah.
anything that kind of helps make the symptoms not as severe or not as
Yeah. For me, yes and no.
okay?
It's different for
It
everybody.
is.
It's
Yep.
kind of challenging, to be honest, but
Mhm.
um I was actually having hot flashes on and off for a while.
Mhm.
And I was traveling somewhere and I was at a spa somewhere and
Mhm.
someone mentioned some supplements that I
Mhm.
actually took for a while and they alleviated the hot flashes immediately.
Wow.
But over the past 6 months, the hot flashes returned.
Are you still taking the supplements?
No,
Okay.
because I did a little experiment, and that's what you kind of have to do with yourself
Yeah.
because we're all different. I did exactly what you did. I went and had my annual checkup.
Mhm.
Everything was fine. We talked about it. We talked through it.
Mhm.
We talked about all the different therapies that
Yeah.
could help.
Yeah.
And what I chose was I chose to actually stop taking the supplements.
Okay.
And I was having regular of those hot flashes more all day and all night,
Mhm.
which was
Mhm.
new for me. So I had that for about a month or two. I decided to stop taking the supplements, and they went away, and they
Huh.
haven't returned. So I was like, and this is just to tell you that our bodies are, again, so incredibly and wonderfully made, are so
Mm.
sensitive to all
Yes.
the little things that can happen to us, that we can do to it, that is going on around us. I think you
Yeah.
just really need to be, again, intentional. Change one thing
Change one thing.
for a while and see if it works.
Right.
Our nutrition is super, super important.
Yeah.
As far as in our perimenopausal state, our nutrition is
Super
really,
important.
really important.
Yeah.
Being as clean as you can is really, really important. Sleep is also really, really important. And
Mhm.
as far as hot flashes, what helped me a lot is I did two things at night when I was still having them. I had a fan on me all night long,
Mhm.
and I had a wet cloth on my
Mhm.
bedside table, so that in the middle of the night, when I would wake up, because it would wake me up,
Yes. Yeah.
wake up, I would just literally throw this hot rag on my body. Actually, it was a towel.
Yeah.
I needed more than a rag,
Yeah.
hot on me, that would help me cool
Cool
off
down.
fairly
Yeah.
quickly, cool down, and then I
Yes.
can maybe go back to sleep. So,
Yeah.
do
You
those
have to
simple
find what
things.
works for
You have
you.
to find what works for you. You
Yeah.
absolutely do. But nutrition is key. Movement and sleep is also really, really important. And you probably wonder, why does movement, which probably will kind of get things moving and get you kind of warm, but you also remember that moving and exercise releases many different chemicals in our
Yes.
body that help to
Yes.
regulate some of those hormones. So
Yeah.
even though you are getting warm when you're moving, you're like, I'm not trying to get any more warm than I
Warmer.
already have. Just that exercise is really doing more in your body than you think,
That's
and in your
great.
brain. Yeah. So think about your hormones and the chemicals that are being released in your exercise. Think about putting in your body the things that are super, super clean and super, super healthy for you. And I can go into that even a little bit more. And sleep,
Yeah.
really trying to get regular good sleep.
Yeah, that's great. I know that it's different for everyone and you have to
It
kind of
is.
try and figure
Hmm.
out what works for you, but
Yeah.
I just wanted you to put some at least what works for you so that people at least have ideas of what they could at least
Hmm.
try. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I know for me, and I think I mentioned this before a couple days ago, for me, and I don't think it's a coincidence, I think this is what it is. I noticed that exercising did help. And also, the
Mm.
cleaner I ate, I did notice that it helped
Hmm.
too. I
Yeah.
mentioned that last week I didn't exercise or eat that clean. I wasn't terrible. Last
Hmm.
week we were out of town taking care of a family member who had surgery.
Hmm.
So it was
Hmm.
really, it was an
It's
excuse,
harder.
but it was
Yeah.
harder. It was
Yeah.
harder to
Yeah.
do the things that I needed to do. And I
Hmm.
noticed that when I came back home, the hot flashes started again because they had kind of gone
Mm.
away. So I
Mm.
was like, okay, let me get back on the ball because this hot flash
Yeah.
situation is not.
Yeah.
I call them power surges. It's not working out for me.
But
So
a good thing would be when you notice something, whether something has changed and in your environment or what you're
yes.
eating or doing, that
Hmm.
seem to, and there's something else that's changed. Your hot flashes are different. Write it down.
Yeah.
Keep a little journal. Keep a power
That's
surge
good.
journal. And if you think something might be changing them for the better, for the worse, or whatever, or you're trying something, maybe you're changing up your how much you exercise or what you're eating,
Yeah.
write that down and sort of keep track of it,
That's
just
good.
to see if you can kind of figure out what's working better than something else.
That's good. I like that. That makes a whole lot of sense. That's awesome. So you stopped taking the supplements. You
I
said
did.
that. I know that another thing that a lot of women do, or at least there's the option of hormone replacement
Replacement. Hmm.
therapy,
Hmm.
HRT.
Hmm.
Again, something you would probably need to talk to your doctor about.
Absolutely.
That's not something that you would want to just, step into lightly. Talk to your doctor about it, the pros and cons of all of it. For me personally, I don't know that that is the route that I need to take, number one, at this
Hmm.
point, or that I would even want to take
Hmm.
at this
Hmm.
point. But everybody's different. Talk,
Everyone is
everyone
different.
is different. Talk to your doctor
Right.
about it, is all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, and I want to emphasize that. And also talk to your, because there are many supplements that claim, and they
Yes.
very well might be, claim to do similar things as
Right.
the
HRT.
hormone replacement
Yeah.
therapy will do. But I
Yep.
would just be really careful if you decide to try some of those other products,
Yeah.
talking to someone again who knows about it, and can kind of direct you on how to use those things. So I also would caution you as far as even some of the supplements that, and I've taken them, and I
Mhm.
did it pretty cautiously. But
Mhm.
if you're kind of not sure, I would just talk to someone about it before
Yeah.
you decide, especially if you're doing it specifically to treat symptoms.
Right.
So hormone replacement therapy, I've thought about it, and I too have decided that right now it's probably not what I need. And the whole
Mhm.
point of hormone replacement is, you remember, the balance of certain hormones are changing,
Yeah.
and some of the hormones, like estrogen, there are others, are decreasing,
Decreasing.
and
Yeah.
that's what's producing some of these symptoms, most
Yeah.
of these symptoms.
Yeah.
So what hormone replacement therapies, it replaces some of the hormones. Sometimes it's estrogen, sometimes it's progesterone, sometimes it's a combination,
Mhm.
replaces some of those hormones so that you have less of the symptoms.
Yeah.
So but for me personally, it would have to be pretty debilitating, those
Right.
symptoms,
Yeah.
I think, for me to consider
Me too.
having that. This is a normal process that we're going through. This is how we're made. So unless those symptoms are really hard, it's very making it very difficult to sleep, which for some women, that is a big issue.
Yeah.
It's affecting my physical body in a way
Mhm.
that I cannot otherwise control. And
Yeah.
I don't think we need to blame weight gain on our menopausal symptoms. Most of
Yeah.
it is not based on menopause.
Mm.
And I think even if it is, I think there are many other ways we can control it. So just consider carefully before you take, hormone replacement therapy. And sometimes it really is necessary for some women, because the symptoms are, or for them,
Just that.
whatever, they're
Yeah.
just that significant.
Yeah. That's good. Good information. What are you mentioned there are certain types of foods, I think you said, that you're more mindful that you're eating as far as eating clean. Give us a couple examples of that.
Well, I am a big proponent of really clean, and I'm going to be really clear when I say clean, is the more plants we eat, the
Mhm.
better,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
for many things. There's actually really good evidence that, at least I have read, that if we eat more whole food, plant-based foods, not
Mhm.
100%, but if we just eat more of it, more
More.
fresh fruits and vegetables,
Mhm.
that seems to help our entire system really, really well. So
Mhm.
some people have said that the more they lean toward whole food, plant-based diet, the less their symptoms are. Now,
Mhm.
whether for them that's just because that's them, or whether it's a mental, physical connection, maybe they
Mhm.
think it's going to help, so it does help,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
If you want to try it, I mean, it's not going to hurt,
Mhm.
absolutely not going to hurt to try that. Again, I would journal about it and make sure that you're actually documenting for yourself what actually you've done differently and what actually is helping or not helping.
Mhm.
But eating as clean as you can, and for me, that means eating more whole food, plant-based
Mhm.
items. The
Okay.
more, the better.
Okay. Very good. Very good. There you have it, ladies. I was gonna say ladies and gentlemen. Ladies. Some really, really great information. I wanted to get back to your health to life coaching
Oh.
that you
Hmm.
do. I know that you have a survey that your clients can do? Talk about
Sure.
that. Yeah, talk about your
Well,
survey.
yeah. So what my survey actually is I am super passionate about showing you, showing others, showing
Mm-hmm.
anyone who needs it
Mm-hmm.
that they can easily change or tweak just what we talked about earlier on in this podcast. That you can easily tweak one or two things and have a huge effect on your health, huge
Mm-hmm.
effect on your health. Say, for instance, water.
Mm-hmm.
um, how many of us drink enough water? I hope many of us do.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Yeah.
If you don't, do you even know how much water you should drink? Do you even
Yeah.
know um, how many ounces you should actually consume a day? If you don't know that, that's such a simple thing that you can do that will significantly affect your health over time. So that being said, oops, I popped my earbud out. So that being said, I am really passionate about showing everyone how simple things like that, and there are lots of other things that
Mm-hmm.
one can do, simple things like that can affect your health. And sometimes, and I see this all the time, and I get asked this question all the time, how do I begin?
Mm-hmm.
Where do I start? Is this type of food okay or
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
So it's just simple things like that. I just love to tell people, look, let's find out what your goal is. So that's what that
Mm-hmm.
survey really is for me to help you find out, where you need to start. Remember, I encouraged people to really try to focus on the area in their life they think needs a little tweaking the most, and
Mm-hmm.
I really help you figure out what that is, what part of your health really needs you to focus on, at least for a little while before you add on top of it. So I call it habit stacking. And habit stacking is creating those small changes
Mm-hmm.
that become then automatic for you to do. You become comfortable in it, and then you add another one on top of it, and you keep doing that until you've developed the system almost of healthy habits that
Mm-hmm.
really affect your health in a positive way. So that survey just helps you kind of pinpoint, okay, where do I need the most help, and
Yeah.
then we continue the conversation from there.
Oh, that's so good. So good. Listen, I want you viewers to go follow. I hope you can hear me now. Someone said my mic was a little bit soft. So give me a thumbs up or let me know in the comments if you can hear me better now. But I want you to go check out Erna, check out Health to Life Coaching. She is, like I said, a wealth of information, a wealth of healthy information for you. I'm so glad that you came on my show today to share
Oh, you're
with.
so
Yeah,
welcome.
this was really great. I'd love to do it
Yeah, had fun.
again. This was awesome.
Can I say you can find me two places primarily.
Yes, let everybody
Facebook.
know where you can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then reach out to you or to me, and then I'll either share that survey with you, and we could go from there.
Okay.
Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Health to Life Coaching, all one word,
Mm-hmm.
no punctuation or periods or any dashes. Or Health to Life Coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and on Facebook, I have a free Facebook community that's called Food for Body and Soul, and
Mm.
that's really what we do. We literally focus on healthy habits, and we do it every month.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole goal of it is this past month, we had a take action challenge. Next month, I think we're going to be walking. We're going to be walking every day for 30 days,
Awesome.
and actually have a walking calendar that we're all going to focus on. And as much of it as you can do as your schedule allows, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're trying to focus on building healthy habits over time.
Yeah.
So Facebook, you can find me. Just look for, thank you. It's down at the bottom of the screen. On IG, I'm Health to Life Coaching. And then on Facebook, you can, of course, look for my name, and you can find me there. My personal profile is just Erna Josiah-Davis. And then, of course, I have a free Facebook group. If you message me, I'll be happy to invite you. It is a private group on Facebook as well.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So there you have the information. My engineer, he's also my husband. He's kind of cute. He is. Thank you, babe.
And, and you didn't pay him to say that either.
I did not, but I will.
Oh, very good. Very good.
No, thank you so much, Erna. This was
You are so
really, really
welcome.
great. Those of you that are watching and those of you that are listening, because we're also going to post this as audio podcasts. So
Wonderful.
yeah, make sure that you go follow my girlfriend. Like I said, she's got great
Likewise.
information. And I just want to go ahead. You were going to say
I
something?
was gonna say, I saw your Hey Girlfriend t-shirt and I'm there. I'm so
Oh,
there. I
great.
love it because I
Thank
love the
you.
style. Most
Mhm.
people, I don't like most of the t-shirt styles for
Mhm.
me, but the
Mhm.
styles that you have are, I think, much more flattering, at least in my opinion. Yes, they're there.
Oh,
I love that style. So I'm all over it. I'm all over
awesome.
it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I
Thank
was
you.
just going to actually talk about the t-shirts again. Go
Great.
to pressandsew.com/Denali and pick up your girlfriend t-shirt. Let's get a bunch of these out there, everybody, so that we can show our solidarity and our strength and our sisterhood, okay? And let's be a Hey Girlfriend community of supportive women, okay? And let's get our health in check so that we can be more complete, more whole for our spouses and for our families, because that's what it's all about. We want to be healthy. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast. I'm so glad for everyone that joined us, and I hope everyone has a great day. Erna,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. I
You're so
appreciate your
welcome.
time. Appreciate
Happy
your
to do
time.
this. Happy to do this.
Oh, thanks so much. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Yes, we will.
All right. Take
Take
care.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.